Hey guys, this is Jasu Bakuhatsu, and welcome back to Let's Play Rockin Kats. We're gonna start things off here by spending the money we earned from the last stage in the shop here. We do have enough for the jet sneakers, and they would actually be extremely helpful for the next stage, but I'm gonna take the hammer punch instead, just because I like doing things in order, I guess, and also because I wanted to have some money left over to show off one of these bonus games for you. If you go over to the B channel here, there are some mini games you can play to try and earn money and extra lives. This here is the basketball mini game, which is the cheapest game on the menu. You basically just grab onto this thing here in the center and spin around to try and launch yourself into one of the baskets to win various prizes. It's actually kind of a fun mini game, I think, and it's a decent way to get in some practice with the swinging mechanics. On the other hand, it's very finicky and requires a lot of precision. You pretty much have to be going straight down in the exact center of the basket to score, otherwise you'll just bounce off the rim. It's extremely difficult to get good at this game, and the payout isn't nearly as lucrative as the other two games, so it's basically not really worth your time to ever play this one. So let's not waste any more time on it. Next up we have Stage 3, because again, I like doing things in order. This is arguably the toughest of the initial 4 stages for reasons that I'll get into later, but for now it's time to explain the hammer punch item that we just picked up. This is an interesting item in that it isn't a straight upgrade over your regular punch glove like the other items. It blocks most projectile attacks, which can be really good in some situations. It also deals triple damage to enemies, which can be really good in some situations. On the other hand, equipping this item makes you lose all of the grabbing capabilities of your normal punch glove. This means no grab and throw, and no swing and spin jump. And as I've probably mentioned by now, I really like swinging and spin jumping, which is why I really don't like this item. However, it's still useful in enough situations that you should definitely pick it up at some point after the twin shot, but I'd still keep the twin shot equipped most of the time unless you know you're going to be in an area with a lot of really beefy enemies. So, we're in a graveyard right now, and I don't really know why. I guess it's supposed to be like a haunted house at a carnival or something, except we're clearly outdoors, and I don't know how many carnivals there are out there with, like, haunted houses that have clouds and trees and astroturf and stuff inside. Anyway, we're at the mid-boss right now. Ghost Dog here is the easiest boss in the game, by far. He's actually so pathetic that I really don't have anything to say about him, like, at all. Just die, I guess. Lay down and die. Down with you, Ghost Dog. The way of the samurai is found in death. So you might be wondering why I didn't use the hammer punch for that last fight. You said it did triple damage, didn't you? It'd be way faster to kill bosses that way. Well, I'll explain that in a moment, YouTube viewer, but first I want to explain that this area here is a pain in the butt for first-time players. The final jump in this crocodile hopping section can be taken a couple different ways, this one right here. And the most intuitive approach is to go underneath, grab onto the platform, and swing across, which is tricky because you need to be at a slightly specific distance to grab onto platforms. If you're too far or too close, your fist won't latch on, and messing it up in that particular section means you fall into the water and die. Actually, you know what? Let's just go through it again so I can show it off as I explain it. So the other way to get through there is to jump on top of the platform. You have just enough jump height to make it up there, and from there you can use a diagonal punch and jump to clear the water. If you don't remember, the punch and jump was the move we saw in the opening demo, where you punch down at the ground while in the air, and doing this sends you upwards and gives you a lot more height and distance than a regular jump. This is also the same move you've seen me use in previous levels to vault off of walls, particularly in the vertical climbing sections. This is your second big source of just crazy mobility that makes this game so much fun to play, especially in vertical sections like these. Here we have these annoying flying Chihuahua enemies dropping bombs all over the place. One of the really cool things about this game is that the enemies change depending on the order that you go through the stages. So, playing a stage later on will replace some enemies with tougher enemies, and sometimes it'll even add completely new enemies to the stage layout. So, for example, if we had played this as our first or second stage, all of these flying Chihuahuas would get replaced by these weaker dive-bombing sparrow enemies that we'll see in this next section coming up. In Downtown Street, the stage we played first, if we had played it later on, we might have seen dogs popping out of trash cans that throw bombs, moonwalking dogs that throw hats, trenchcoat mice that throw smaller mice. The number of stages you've cleared determines the types of enemies that you'll see when you go into a new stage, and the reason for this is of course so that the game can have its sort of Mega Man style stage selection scheme and still maintain a proper difficulty curve regardless of the order that you play the stages in, which is just incredibly forward thinking. That's just amazing to me. Like, Mega Man games never did this, 1 through 10, X through whatever X is up to. DuckTales Remastered, a game released this year, didn't do anything like this, and here it is, modular difficulty in a NES game released in 1991. And oh crap, we're at Clown Dog already. Okay, there's some fairly counterintuitive nonsense going on with this boss. Your target here is the Clown Dog up top there with the hammer, but you can and should destroy the dog face first. It just makes things go a lot quicker. But the game doesn't give you any indication that you can actually damage the dog face. It looks like your attacks are just completely ineffective, so that sucks. Also, I'm using Hammer Punch here because the projectile block lets me spam punches without having to worry about dodging anything here. This is the only benefit that you get from Hammer Punch during boss fights. Bosses and mid-bosses always take the same number of hits to kill. Hammer Punch and thrown objects deal the same amount of damage to bosses as your regular Punch Glove. They only do extra damage to regular enemies. And once again, we've got a really nice freeze frame for the killing blow here. Whew! And so, with all of that, we are treated to the all-too-familiar, by now, ending dialogue. And that'll wrap things up for this episode of Let's Play Rockin Kats. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you next time.